Hello and welcome to Season 3 of the Techpedition Podcast.
Yeah, man. Yeah, kicking off a new season. Woo! Yeah. I'm doing my hammer dance right now.
My fake studio audience.
Golf
so,
clap,
yeah.
sir. Golf clap for you.
It's the beginning of January. Some might even say the 6th Saturday. NFL playoff weekend. Not much else happening.
Yeah, man. That's what the conclusion we came to is we kind of went through the news, man. The news is sparse at best. It is nothing going on.
There's not a lot of news, but there are some doozies, as we'll get into.
Yeah, on the security front, yeah.
Yeah, so do you want to just start with that, or you want to go over some of the other smaller stuff first?
Well, I guess we can just mention that CES starts tomorrow or Sunday here.
Oh, yeah.
Which should be cool. I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of 8K TVs, maybe.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
I guess the curve thing is over with now. We have the curve.
I hope it's over because it makes no sense.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It's just a gimmick, which I guess most of everything is a gimmick. I guess 3D has been dead for a while now, and yeah, I guess just more pixels is really the way to go now, I guess.
Pushing pixels.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so to start off with, HTC, or I guess it was Valve. Was it Valve? Yeah, Valve made an interesting Twitter post. I think it was Friday or yesterday or Thursday. And it said new resolutions for 2018. And it kind of teased the Vive. New Year's resolutions, what it said. New Year's resolution 10818. And I'm assuming that means that the new Vive will be announced Monday, because the 8th is Monday, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And yeah, so, I'm hoping there's a trickle-down effect when this is released, that the current Vive will get marked down to a cheaper price point.
Yeah, man.
And then this will just in turn take the $600 to $800 price point that the Vive is taking now. That would be the smart thing, but I don't know. What do you think?
I'm hoping that's what happens because, I think we may have mentioned it before. The price really needs to get in the $200 to $300 price range before most people are going to adopt it. And even that is kind of a big add-on, since this is just an addition to your already gaming system or PC. Yeah. So, the price really has to come down, and hopefully as they do this more, the tech will get better. Drive prices now, which, we'll see what Vive actually, or HP actually announces.
Yeah. I'm really excited about the resolution part of this because, with the original Vive, and I don't know about the Oculus because I've never tried the Oculus, but the screen door effect is real. There's you can see the spaces in between the pixels because your face is so close to the screens. So, you can kind of suspend it for a little bit once you get into playing something really hard, but it's like after a while, it's like you're looking through a screen door, and it can get, annoying. So,
yeah. And which is funny because, again, with this whole, we're teasing what they may release. I've heard that HP is not doing well as a company right now.
HP or HTC?
HTC, I'm sorry. HTC is not doing real well as a company right now.
They're not really releasing any phones anymore, are they?
They are. I don't know if it's anything you're going to buy. But really, man, those guys are not doing good as a company. And, what's going to happen to their 3D platform if they don't make it? Are they going to sell that off? Is Valve going to come into the rescue, or who knows?
Well, I imagine, they'll probably do like Google and just pick another vendor to make their headset.
Yeah.
Because the Pixel and the Nexus before that, they jumped from HTC to LG to, Motorola made one. I think they were all over the place. So, I could see a similar effect. I'm surprised. Well, for obvious reasons, I feel like Samsung would be the ideal person to partner with for something like this. But for obvious reasons, they probably won't partner with Samsung because they're kind of in bed with Oculus right now. But we'll see. I don't know.
I really would have expected Microsoft to make a play toward one of these companies. Of course, Oculus is already in bed with, Facebook owns them now. So, but Vive is the obvious play for them. But, they're doing their mixed reality headset thing. And it seems like they just don't want to jump in. It's just really weird to me.
I just feel like they're maybe a little apprehensive because it's such a high price point. They may just not see it being worthwhile. But I mean, the cool thing is they do have the what is it? The not the HoloLens, but the mixed reality headsets.
Yeah,
that came out like late last year. I think.
And those are everybody's making those.
Yeah. And I feel like those are a little more reasonable. I've never tried one. I need to go by the Microsoft store and check one out because I hear they're all right, you know?
Yeah, I think I saw them demoing it on Twit. And I guess it was Father Robert Ballister was demoing it. And then he says it's just as good as the Vive in a lot of ways. So I just really would love to get my hands on it and try it out. And like you said, the price is about a level where more people can get along and actually purchase it. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will. What's next?
I don't. Do we want to jump into the security, or is there anything else we want to?
Quickly, this isn't really technology, but I just want to talk about the concept truck that Mercedes-Benz has released. It's the Mercedes-Benz X-Class. It looks phenomenal, and yeah.
Is that camper a part of the truck?
No, you talking about? That's a good question. I'm not sure with the sink and everything.
Oh.
Oh no, not the camper on that one. No, that's definitely an add-on. But
the slide out toolbox thing they have?
Yeah, it's got a sink on it, and I mean just the idea of it's like a mobile camper thing back there, which I thought that was really cool. But if this thing goes into production, man, like I feel like they could really, this is like totally unrelated to technology, but I feel like they could knock the F-150 off its throne, you know, if they can come in at a decent price point. Because I mean, those trucks are expensive anyway. Like if you get an F-150 tricked out, you're paying like 50, 60 grand. And I mean, I feel like that's Mercedes territory, you know, maybe a little bit more than that. So
is Mercedes-Benz American? I don't.
No, they're German. They're German.
Yeah, so that kind of worries me because usually America rules in the truck business, I guess. So to me, it would be a hard sell for them to come in and kind of take some of that throne. Yeah,
I mean that's true, but I agree with you, but in some ways, I don't think pickup trucks are like the most sophisticated thing in the world. And besides, I do believe that some of these exotic European car companies do make trucks for Europe. They just don't bring them over here because of what you just said. You know, you have the Fords and the Chevys, and everybody's pretty much on one side or other in that camp. And it's probably a really hard market to break into, but I hope this actually becomes a thing. You know, it could be really interesting.
Cool. Agreed.
Yeah. So I guess that's our news.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Another quick thing. I guess Mad Catz is returning from the dead.
What?
Yeah, they're making a mouse. And I'm trying to figure out, is it just the name or did somebody? According to CNN, the Chinese holding company, largely comprised of former Mad Catz factory workers, have purchased Mad Catz assets and are branding and is resurrecting the accessory manufacturer. So, yeah, I guess Mad Catz is back. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Yeah, I mean they hopefully they won't put all their eggs in one basket like they did with Guitar Hero again.
Oh man, yeah,
that was really, really unfortunate. But if they stick to what they do best, I think they'll be fine. You know.
And as much as I like to hate on Mad Catz, like their third-party controllers did get you through when you needed a cheap, knockoff.
And those Street Fighter controllers were amazing.
Yeah, they were. Still got one sitting over here somewhere.
Yeah, I've got one in the box somewhere as well. But yeah, it's good to see them back, man. Nostalgia. Cool. So I guess we're just going to hop right into it then, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so unless you've been under a rock for the last week, you will have by now heard about Meltdown and Spectre. These two vulnerabilities pose a huge threat to pretty much any CPU, one or the other, to any CPU that was built roughly in the last 20 years. And if you think about it, we're not just talking about Intel, AMD. as far as Spectre. It affects Intel, AMD, ARM, like everything. Everything's vulnerable. So if your baby monitor has an ARM chip in it, it's vulnerable. And it's really, really interesting the way these vulnerabilities work. So before we get into it, I just want to know like your gut reaction to all this, because you've heard quite a bit. So what do you think?
Yeah, I've heard, first of all, I've heard a few people explain it. So hopefully you might do a better job, because I found parts of it hard to understand, though I get the general gist of it. There's areas of memory that should be quarantined off, but are accessible through some very, impressive hacking techniques. And ultimately, it can be accessed via JavaScript. So, I mean, that being said, and it's in the architecture of the hardware, that makes it really, really hard. And the thing that I hope it isn't, and maybe you can give me some clarity, I hope it doesn't push us 10, 15 years back as far as processor performance.
Well, I mean, it really depends. I know as far as like manufacturing chips, it's gonna put us back because, Ryzen 2 is supposed to come out this year. Intel usually releases a generation every year now. And obviously it goes without saying that those are going to definitely be pushed back. Yeah. The major thing here for me is that, even if you're running something, you may be running a computer with XP or Windows 7 on it, and it's no less vulnerable than the stuff that's running around now. Yeah. And the danger to me is if you're running one of those older machines is that, I know with Microsoft, they've completely cut off patching Windows XP. Yes. I mean, I think they've cut off patching 7 too, if I'm not mistaken, or they're getting close to cutting off support for 7. If you're running one of those legacy operating systems, like you're really in a pickle. I think they've already patched Windows 8 through 10, if I'm not mistaken. But the thing is with this is the way it works. Okay, so let's say you're running a program and you're running some kind of encryption to keep your data safe. So let's say you're on an SSL connection. You're logging on to Techpedition.com or any site, Google, Gmail. So you log in and basically that entire connection and everything is encrypted until it hits a certain part of your CPU. And in that part of your CPU, or your CPU interfaces with memory, there's a space that is unencrypted, and my thinking here is because if you encrypt it all the way down to the ones and zeros, it would just probably significantly affect your performance. Yeah. And the way that this, we'll just call it a safe zone for lack of a better term, the way this safe zone operates, there are two vulnerabilities now that can get into that safe space. One of them is called Meltdown, and it only affects Intel processors. And with this one, it's a little more accessible. I'm trying to think of an easier way to put it. But go ahead.
No, by default, each application or each process should have its own set of this memory that should not be accessible by any other program or process. Is that correct? Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah. I guess. But there's just this safe space. Everything passes through raw and unencrypted. It's inside the kernel. It's the most central part of the software architecture and hardware architecture. And, normally there are powerful things in place to prevent it from being interfered with. So you're right. Normally, even in this space, it's walled off from everything else. Yeah. But these techniques allow you to traverse your memory space, or access the entire memory space. And so, like I said, Meltdown, the way that this works, I'm trying to think of an easier way to put it. Well, I mean, go ahead.
I'm reading an article and I'm just trying to recant what I've heard other people say. I mean, normally the memory space within the kernel would be segregated and protected from each other applications.
Correct. Yes.
But the way this works, it does some memory manipulation within that sector that allow it to reach memory addresses, which it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot easier way to put it than what I was saying. Yes, that's basically what it is. Meltdown works in kind of a different way than Spectre does. But the thing about Spectre is, like, from what I understand, it's really, really difficult to trigger this exploit, whereas Meltdown's probably a little more easier to trigger. And so far, they've been able to not fix, but they've been able to write software workarounds for Meltdown. Now, the problem with Meltdown is the way it works, it screws with antivirus. So if you patch this and you have antivirus running, it could blue screen your computer.
What?
So this is what Microsoft did. And like, I know all this because
I'm just weirded out on how that antivirus could actually blue screen your computer in that case.
Well, the way it works is I think the operating system changes the way it fundamentally handles memory, which is the only way to fix this. And I'm trying to think of the specific language that they use. It's something about double addressing or single addressing. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm not going to get into it, but basically the way they fix this is they fundamentally fix the way your Windows or your Linux kernel handles memory. That's really the only way to fix it. Mm-hmm. So that's why, I mean, we're talking down to an IO level. It fundamentally changes the way the system handles memory, which is where the performance hit comes from.
So, and are they working closely with Microsoft and I guess Apple for the operating system on top of these processors to actually run this software without breaking everything, or is it?
Well, see, the thing is, they have been working on this for months, and they've been working on a solution for months. But somehow this leaked to the press, and it was like announced this week, and there was a huge panic. Apple quietly patched Meltdown. There's a Linux patch for it. Windows had a patch for it because they've already been working on it. But they, it's not like, I don't think it was quite ready to go yet. So since it's out there and there's this mass hysteria and panic, they went ahead and pushed their updates. Gotcha. Now, the problem with the Windows update is, like I said, it interferes with the way it handles memory, which in turn really screws with antivirus software. And I think it has to do with the way antivirus software handles heuristic behavior, where they don't necessarily protect against a specific vulnerability. They protect against a certain set of actions. Gotcha. To where if you do these things, then you're probably malware. So it just really screws with the antivirus. And there's a good chance it could blue screen your computer. So Yikes. What Microsoft did was, when this patch came out, is they try to detect whether or not you have an antivirus installed. And if you do, it won't install a patch on your machine. And we had this problem at work because we run Trend Micro, and what we had to do was do a registry hack. There's a registry key you can manipulate, and it will install it anyway at your own risk, I guess. But we had to because it was just, I mean, it was a pretty scary time to be IT admin this past week because everybody's freaking out. So, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying, well, that being said, okay, the knowledge of this vulnerability is out there. We know all these companies are working to patch it and fix it. But have there been any real world examples of this actually? We know it's a 0-day, but are there actually real world examples of this being taken advantage of?
I don't think there are actually any malware packages that take advantage of this yet. Which is why, since it was leaked by the press, everybody's scrambling, because now that people know how the vulnerability works, you can bet your bottom dollar that somebody's going to have an exploit written for it really, really soon. So it's even more important to, get patches out there. But I just wish they would have not leaked this and, let them announce it when they were ready to announce it, because it just really screws with everything.
Man. So let's talk about the performance hit.
Okay, so with Meltdown, now to my knowledge, there aren't any patches for Spectre yet. There just aren't, because it's going to be really, really difficult to fix. Whereas Meltdown seems to be easier to exploit and easier to fix. And it looks like all the major OS operators or vendors, however you want to say it looks like they've all patched it. Now, the problem is the way this is patched, it comes with a 5 to 30% performance hit to your CPUs, which is like really, really bad. like really bad. But
especially if you think of a cloud computing servers and stuff, that is huge.
Oh yeah. Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, they've all had to patch this. And, we run stuff in AWS and we run stuff in Azure, and we got the notice that, hey, we patched this. You need to reboot your machines when you can. And it's just one of those things where everybody's really, really serious about this, and that's a good thing. I'm just worried that that the patches that they've released, maybe since they were released so quickly, maybe they don't protect as well as we hope they would. But who knows? I'm really, really scared that somebody's going to find a way to exploit Spectre like quickly, and that will be a huge problem because there's just it affects every CPU. So it's just really, really scary.
I mean, in addition to people, the inherent security aspects of it, but there are actually companies that are, I think in Oregon, California, and Indiana, companies have filed like a class action lawsuit, or there are multiple actually, against Intel over this.
Yeah.
which is weird because, okay, it's, you pay for one thing and then you see it's going to get a 30% hit. I can see you getting mad over that. But the fact that it's like an architectural, flaw, there's really not a whole lot even that company can do about it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I agree, but with Meltdown, that one specifically, since it specifically affects Intel processors and servers, and it doesn't affect AMD stuff, and it doesn't affect ARM. Now with Spectre, I can see your point that, it affects everything. Like that's kind of like act of God territory. But with this one, since it only affects Intel, I feel like they do have an argument there. So, especially since when this was revealed to the vendors or whoever's, like, I can't remember the guy's name who actually contacted them and let them know that this vulnerability was there. Like 3 days after they knew about it, the CEO of Intel sold all his Intel shares. So,
yeah.
Like that tells me that they knew it was really, really bad, and that, that's one of those things where maybe they may have an argument.
Well, I mean, it makes me think: is it one of those things like, okay, we know this is a potential flaw, but by not implementing this certain thing, we can have a huge lead over AMD in our processors to be so much faster, and that's how we can become the company we are today. I mean, it's like
competitive advantage.
It's like saying I can get in and out of my house faster, but that's because I don't lock my door, something like that, where they just purposely don't do this little thing that they think will never, ever come up, never, ever be an issue. But
I have no doubt that played into it. I have no doubt whatsoever.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty huge. And if the lawsuits start coming, man, it could kill Intel, which would be bad for everybody, I think.
Yeah, I do not want to see Intel go anywhere, even though I'm happy that AMD's had a resurgence. We need Intel just as much as we need AMD. Yeah. Because both of them together battling it out is what makes us the winners. There's only one, like it's been with Intel, we're all going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think too, like, we talk about during the economic downfall, like we have banks that are too big to fail. I mean, I almost think in the technological atmosphere that we're in right now and how dependent we are on processors, microchips, I think Intel is probably too big to fail.
Yeah, that's bailout. I think they're bailout territory because, I mean, they're running in everything. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's just going to be really, really hard to let Intel die, I feel like, anyway.
Agreed, sir. Wow. That's huge.
Yeah, it's just an interesting time,
Yeah, man. 2018. Smile.
Welcome to the gauntlet.
So, man, anything else? We kind of, we tried to kind of explain what was going on there. Anything else we need to be aware of or otherwise?
Let's see here. Thinking. I can't really think of of anything.
Yes.
Well, I guess I'll just say, if you're into crypto, take a look at Bytecoin, not Bitcoin, BYTE, Bytecoin, Sia Coin, SIA Coin, and Dogecoin because they're on a rise. Ripple, has gone in the last 3 weeks has gone from 25 cents a coin to $2.67 a coin. So I've made a pretty penny. But keep an eye on those because I feel like Ripple's still got room to go, and the other ones are so low right now that they've got a lot of room to grow as well. So just check those coins out. I'm not saying buy any. I'm not a financial advisor, so not saying buy it. But take a look. They're really, really interesting coins.
I mean, I almost feel like we're in freaking cryptocurrency HE hockey sticks. There's so many. There's so
many.
Why?
There's so many. It's like in the 90s when Master P's label was releasing an album every week. It's like that bad.
Yeah. Do you think there'll be one to rule them all? I guess that's Bitcoin, or I mean.
Well, I don't, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because they a lot of them do different things. They aren't just currency. So like with Ethereum, it can be used as currency, but it's more important because of the smart contract capability of it. So you could put like your real estate contract or any kind of contract in the blockchain, and nobody can, it's there for like permanent record, and you can actually build programs off of it. So I don't really want to get too deep about it, but it does a whole lot more than just store financial transaction data. Bitcoin, I'm not too big on Bitcoin. There are ways to extend it to add smart contract capability and all this other stuff, but it's more Bitcoin's more of a traditional cryptocurrency, whereas something like Ripple is actually being used to transfer do international payment transfers. So let's say you want to send $200 worth of Japanese yen to Japan, to your friend in Japan. So you can use Ripple, send it there in 4 seconds. Whereas if you did it traditionally, you would have to it'd probably take a week, and it'd be it'd be so expensive that it wouldn't even make sense to send $200 just because it's so expensive to do. And banks do this all the time. And right now, I can't remember the name of the network they use. The Swift network is what they use, I believe. And it's expensive and it's time consuming. And Ripple just makes all of that fast. And you don't really have to go through any other party. Just send it through the Ripple network. And we'll see. I mean, there's no guarantee that it's going to go up with all these, but I have a lot of faith in it. I think it's going to do well.
Cool. Yeah, we may have to dive into a Bitcoin only or a crypto only episode here pretty soon.
Oh yes, definitely. I'll look forward to that.
Cool beans. Yeah, I guess that's it. Episode 1, season 3.
We out.
Very, very quick. Techpedition. Very, very quick. Techpedition. Very, very quick. Techpedition. Very, very quick. Techpedition.
I can't beat that. I just smells burnt and dusty.
Hey guys, don't miss an episode of the Techpedition Podcast. For more information, go to techpedition.com/subscribe. TECHPEDITION.com.